I'm out of rounds. The lamp's almost out too. We're holding him back for now, but it won't last much longer. No BS. I can last. The lighthouse, not so much. What difference does that make? Sinners were reeling from the battle against this enemy, who is more like a force of nature than human. Without giving us much time to breathe, the knight fixes the spear and begins charging at us again. It didn't take very long for the severity of the situation to dawn as I quickly began to rack my head with a desperate wish. What can I do? What can I do here? That's when, through the mist, the black space begins to envelop my vision once again. Wait, this is just like... And from the dark, light shines again. I reach out toward it and see, unlike in the earlier phenomenon, which focused entirely and powerfully on Skadi, a single individual. What I saw this time was an unfamiliar place called Casimir's. This place was filled to the brim with things that Don Quixote would lose her mind over, like knights and their countless fans, an arena in which to test one's mettle. But the one in Amiya's thoughts sit far from all of that glory in a very mundane looking office. He wears a well-kept set of clothing, while his eyes are, with a slight squint, focused on reading the newspaper. The man looked more like an office worker than a knight, but the most radiant part of that scene was a banner hanging on the wall, and a sword. Don Quixote was the first sinner who came to mind. Can she, our ardent admirer of knights and pursuer of glory, spin that energy from his sword as her own? Wait, no, he's different. I need someone who doesn't pursue glory, someone who can handle their own tarnished glory. The sinner who can detachedly wield the entirety of their bygone honor is... It's pretty obvious this is Gregor's ego, but from Dante's statements, I can't say I wholeheartedly agree that the connection is clear. I wouldn't consider anyone, but I guess it makes sense because Gregor was a soldier, so in that sense, if you wanna put in the correlation between knights and soldiers, of course, knight in the most like grandiose sense, not the fighting wars type, but more of the sir of a island kind of thing. Carry on. Yes, there's just one. I'll trust you, Gregor. I'll use this ego to hew into the knight's charge. Split the waves. Use the light to split the waves, huh? I hear you, manager, but let's do this. Woo.
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은 빛바래지 않을 텐데.
Yeah. The incandescent golden blades of light surge forth, cleaving through the darkness of the sea. The knights withstand and parries each of those lights away, but he comes to a stop when the last of the golden radiance cuts across the sea and looks in our direction as if to admire it. And finally, the lighthouse makes a low, resonant creaking noise before firing a bright light toward the ocean horizon. Mayers has completed the repairs. Ooh, the light returned to its house once more. Silence all. Mayers is saying something. Like Otis said, Mayers was peeking out of the window and shouting something at us. Vessel Masas is still near the shores, somewhere in the coastal sea. It moored somewhere by the beach, somewhere quite a bit of distance away from the village coast. Confirmed. I'll radio Dr. Cultsit immediately. Phew, that's all well and good, but what about that monster? Yeah, what if it charges at the lighthouse again and destroys it? I heard it talk during our battle, but I don't think that creature is capable of actually communicating with them. this will be a problem. It's pretty cute that she can still have eyes glimmering, blushed and all, even though she's like super bloody injured. So like, imagining someone like on death's door but still excited to like speak about their passion. Don Quixote? Wait, don't get too close to it, it's still dangerous. But before we could stop her, Don Quixote had already approached as close as she could to the Seaborn, her eyes twinkling. She takes a brief moment to admire the knight and his steed, before asking in an energetic tone, "Oh, mighty knight, what is the name of thy noble steed?" Roshi Nante. Oh my god. Is that legit? This Artorias looking ass has a horse named Roshinante. Is this gonna be like a Batman v Superman from situation? How did you know that name? Wait, she can communicate with him? Ooh, this is quite the coincidence then. My noble steed is also named Roshinante. One is not a comrade, they are a steed, you say. If that horse is Roshinante, that means this last knight is Don Quixote, right? So in the universe of Arc Knights, there's also a Don Quixote. Forsooth, a steed most fine indeed. It hath served me well over countless adventures of mine, despite its appearance. Yet I must inquire thee, noble knight, wherefore thou strike this lighthouse so? Ishamla. It was not the waves. The waves are darker, more raucous. Perchance there was a tad inconvenient misunderstanding here then. Good night. I and my compatriots are now embarking upon an adventure most important. Yet, with thy obstruction, we are unable to do so. Prithee, wilt thou return to whence thou came? Don Quixote regarded the knight with a stance that was at once courteous and brave. And the knight and his steed, Roshinante, stared wordlessly back at Don Quixote. I wasn't sure if she managed to get through to the knight, or if the knight just lost interest. They both departed the lighthouse, looking out to the far distance. So they really exist, Seaborns who hope for something other than just survival. Such powerful Seaborns lurk at sea. Are you alright, Donkey? You should be thankful that it somehow yielded a positive outcome. When are you going to fix that habit of rushing to it without thinking it through? Ahem, mine apologies. I don't know if this is the first time, but I don't recall Don Quixote ever settling things through dialogue. While Don Quixote returned the knight with that bizarre conversation, Armia raised her voice happily as though she just received good news. What? Dr. Coutsit? Is that true? What's going on? The doctors managed to infiltrate the vessel Massas. They're already done cleaning up the decks, and are now waiting for the rest of us to arrive. But it's been hardly 10 minutes since the lighthouse came on. The doctor's an excellent strategist, and based on what Dr. Coutsit told us, I think they already had some plans in motion before we activated the lighthouse. Great, let's return to Scuddy and join them. We returned to the raft and explained what had transpired. Scuddy listened to us quietly before replying in the exact same manner as she did before. Someone's going to have to stay behind. I will stay. Go find the vessel Massas. You're going to refuse again if we offer help, aren't you? Yes. Then I'll see you after we retrieve the vessel Massas. I'll let the doctor know what happened here. What an oddball. This is the doctor, researcher at Rhodes Island. Nice to meet you. Hey. It's the MC himself. Interesting that they introduced him this late into the event when I, after everything we went through, finally had the chance to meet the Doctor of Rhodes Island. I realized that I had been building a vastly different image of them in my mind based on the name alone. I don't know how the MC works in Arc Knights. Usually regular MCs in the various gacha games are like the slightly quirky comedic kind, so I wonder if that's portrayed here. I was thinking they were going to be someone like Hisang, Faust, or Hohenheim from LCE, but the first impression of them was similar to what I felt when I met a K-Corp employee. The clock just ticked. And this is Dante, a manager at Limbus company. That ticking just now was, "Nice to meet you." Okay. Thanks for accompanying Amiya. Honestly, I was pretty worried when we were separated at the border. I should thank you and Amiya actually. We would have been in a real pickle without her, so... It's a bit embarrassing to repeat myself. Dante says that we would have been in a real pickle without Miss Amiya. Sorry for the... just adjusting some settings. Sorry, Manager Bud can't talk human, so don't worry about it. We'll take over the translation. It is incorrect to state that the manager cannot talk human. A more accurate assessment would state that the manager is incapable of assessing a sonic means of communication, which includes verbal communication. However, they are able to produce repetition of multiple sounds that may register on a similar scale to the ticking of multiple hands, second hands, minute hands of a clock. Usually I agree with you, Mersault, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you can interpret that as talk human, really. But sure, more accurate assessment, I suppose. I don't know. Something about the way Mersault puts it sounds worse. Don't worry. It is not a difficult task when only a single individual has to be translated. Doctor, let us move on to the next steps of the plan. Next steps? Thanks to Limbus Company's efforts, we obtained the exact coordinates of the vessel Massas and managed to capture the decks with ease. However, Fabius, who is suspected to be a bishop of the deep, and his followers have barricaded themselves inside the bridge's control room. While it may seem as though they're hiding, I believe they're trying to bait us. As in, they are waiting for us to enter the bridge before summoning reinforcements from elsewhere to trap us in a pincer attack? Something like that. The elsewhere is most likely to be the sea, as their reinforcements are probably more sea terrors. Fabius is a seaborn, and the ocean will answer to the call for their kind. Limbus Company and Irene will head to the bridge and neutralize Fabius. Amiya and I will accompany you to provide support and identify the situation within the bridge. In the meantime, Cultit and the other operators will remain on standby on the ship's exterior at the pre-designated locations. I'd like to avoid getting surrounded by sea terrors before we manage to take down the Church of the Deep within the bridge. I observed several entry points leading straight to the bridge while we were working on repairing the vessel. Your force doesn't seem numerous enough to close off all of them. It's true that there are many entry points here, but we don't need forces guarding every single one of them. Especially here, the hallway is narrow, long and straight, so... makes sense to me. How about here? Are you sure you're not overly focusing your forces to a single checkpoint? Let's see, but on closer look. Looks like Commanding Officer Otis is finally in her environment. Got any questions, Manager Bud? I have no idea what you're talking about, if I'm being honest. So, could there be a mirror world out there with Dante's like doctor? A competent commanding chief officer. Really? I saw you commanding the sinners earlier. You seem pretty adept at giving orders and making strategic decisions. Indeed. They seem quite adept at making on-the-spot strategic commands and identifying exploitable weaknesses and patterns in their enemies. However, the Doctor and the Outsider are operating on fundamentally different fields. No further elaboration is necessary. Agreed. That particular aspect of strategizing is not one of Manager Dante's obligations, and even if there is a chance for them to engage in such elements, it may be too early to do so. Is that so? It is. At least that is what Faust has judged. What are they on about? I was about to ask that myself. I don't know. I have no idea. Having finished her discussion with the Doctor over the plan, Otis returned wearing a grim look. Huh? Is there something wrong with the plan? No, there wasn't anything wrong with the plan. I expected a certain degree of competency, but they were impressive, far beyond my expectations. Really? That good, huh? Even when I think back to my days in the line of duty, I can't think of too many like them. Alright, I'm gonna edit something a bit. Let's do that. Okay. Right. So they're dependable. Good enough for me. If your strategizing's done, let's get cracking. What of you, Miss Mayers? If it is too much to face what awaits, then you need not follow us. I decided to stay here anyway. The Doctor is going to update you in real time on where the safe zones are. So, please keep that communicator close to you. I will. Hey, if Gramps, is there something you would like for us to do? No, it's nothing. If there's something you want to tell him, contact us through the communicator at any time. We're going to find a way to resolve this as peacefully as we can. But if the negotiations break down... Yeah, I know what you mean, Doctor. Be safe, everyone. Leaving Mayers behind with her unfinished sentence, we followed the Rhodes Island team into the bridge. The bridge was as gaudily decorated as ever. Fabius, flanked by hooded followers and sea terrors, greeted us with a kindly smile. Welcome. I truly did appreciate thy kindness. Wherefore didst thou seek to harm us? Your suspicions are certainly justified. I implore you to think back. If you truly believed that we had sought to harm you then, how would you explain that one peaceful night you had spent in Faro Muerto? We have never wished you any harm. We did not then, and we do not now. Huh, not even a day after you folks stabbed us in the back like cowards, and you want us to believe that? Our wish has always been the same. We only wish to extend the freedom to roam the seas to those with capable, kind-hearted souls. Mate, we know you were just trying to turn us into sea monsters of some kind. Monster is only a name. The essence of its being changes not regardless of the label given to it. Become one with the sea, become one with the endless cycle of life, and one day, your misunderstandings will end and you will come to understand us. Ominous silence. Looks like this fight between us is going to be unavoidable. I pulled out the identity cards the moment I saw Fabius raising his hand. The Doctor seemed to have finished their preparations as well, as they and Amiya stood opposite Fabius. Incoming! Get ready, everyone! Let's stop them here for good, no matter how long it takes. Their strategic formation prioritized reducing sacrifices to the absolute minimum. Their commands sought to protect, sought to defend, and their forces were quick to follow them. Rhodes Island's operations was certainly impressive, but it's not exactly our style. All I can do is put my faith in the sinners and push them onward. Our style is, trust me to bring you back, no matter how many times they cut you down. Let's wipe them out.
어떤 시간과 공간에 계시는 관리자님이 들을진 몰라도 그때를 위해서 미리 응원을 녹음해야 한다는 거군요. 아, 이런. 이것도 녹음되고 있는지는 미처 몰랐네요.
규정대로
먼저 간다.
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로
겨우 이
기계는
정도야.
입에 달린 말
꺼내.
따위
규정에 따라 실행합니다.
손쉽구만.
개체의 유효한 속성을 정확하게 간파했습니다. 제 예상만큼 관리자님의
쉽네.
능력이 우수하다는 것이 증명되는 것 같아 다행이군요.
겨우 이 정도야.
당연한 결과죠.
폭의 거울은
먼저 간다.
다음 판단을 부탁합니다.
늘 새롭다니까요.
어떠냐?
한 건 했다. 맛있는 거 준비해줘.
당연한
상대.
결과죠.
소 실행합니다.
시즈니 지메시아
아름답진 않네.
스킬 탈시 오네가시마스.
치명성을 당한 직원이 있긴 합니다만 마음 아파할 필요는 없습니다. 아득한 여정, 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 답을 구하시길.
サンタさんの作戦とても効果的でした。
이 파도 속에서 움직일 수 있는 오직 나. 깨어져라. 이런
직원의 상태가 나빠 보이는군요. 흔히 이걸 나사 빠진 상태라고 표현하던가요?
출진이다.
정의보다도 풍자여 운명 속에 파묻힌 그대 여기서 빛은 우리 앞을 막는 증오스러 나와 그대의 힘을 합쳐 위대한 아르카나 슬레이어!
나는 이 왕좌에 묶여 홀로 통치하는 자일지.
훌륭한 제압 성과를 낸 직원이 있군요. 효율적인 결과를 위해서 이쯤에서 관리자님이 칭찬의 말을 건네줘도 좋을 것 같네요. 물론 진심까지 담길 필요는 없습니다. 모든 결과들은 파우스트가 알아요.
한눈 팔지 마세요. 메말은 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
모든 슬픔과 눈물을 끌어모아
당신에겐 제가 어떻게 보일까요? 시간의 태엽 안에 그 답이 있을까요?
囚人が死亡。どうすれば。
내가 너를 위해 기도할 것이니 넌 반드시 부서진다. 증기압축 피스톤 압력 제한 해제, 관측 완료된 시간 벡터 계산 완료, 축적된 과거 변형, 모먼트 값 유지, 발사.
囚人が退却できませんでした。あ、ダンテさんには囚人を蘇生できる能力がありましたよね。
맞습니다. 해냈어요.
행동을 개시합니다.
해보겠습니다. 더는 하늘에 오르지 못한다. 당신의 품이야. 끝없이
먼저 간다.
저치는 낙엽하오.
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은 이빨이지.
힘내.
You're pretty persistent. Fabius flees again, using sea terrors and his followers as meat shields. Wait, no, I see it now. It's not Fabius who's putting them in harm's way to save himself. The sea terrors and the cultists are throwing themselves in our way, entirely willing to sacrifice their lives to ensure that Fabius gets away. But for all that, the only place left for him to flee on the ship, wounded and cornered by the sinners and Irene's lamplight, was the decks. Nowhere left to run, Fabius. I understand you can't help but continue to trash and struggle to live, even knowing that there's no hope. But running will only make your pain worse. That's different. Barbie didn't run to live. Her voice echoes from under the dark sky. Mares? Mares, appearing quite different from how she did a moment ago. She approaches Fabius slowly, her expression solemn and mournful. She looks down at him wordlessly. I told you that your methods won't win under their understanding, Phoebe. Ha ha, what a shame. I thought those with such wisdom and aptitude would. I hoped you would still be able to realize your ideal here, even after I'd left. I will be realized. Fabius may die here, but we will remain. Now it is time. Devour me. What Fabius blurted out threw us off once again. even before we regained our footing from the shock of realizing May's true allegiance. Eat people? Oh, looks like they're about to give us a live demonstration of some gourmet art. I heard it's a pretty common thing in the District 23 backstreets, but I'd rather not see it in person. Hey, I think I'm just gonna look away. That's okay, right? Just what? Doctor, weaker seaborns willingly let themselves be devoured by stronger ones, thereby sharing their experiences and nutrients with them. This is a commonly accepted practice among them. It is but a behavior that prioritizes survival over all else. This isn't done in any sense of sacrifice. The time is here. Devour me. Set sail. Word your ideal. Like trying to like reference every canto that happened or something. Sorry, Phoebe. I've still got some canned food left for me on this ship, and I think I'll delay becoming a seaborn for a little while. Why? I found a new destination. I'll gain a new power from there, and then become a seaborn. So now is not yet the time. If that is your will, old bishop. Don't worry, your flesh will fatten the bloodkin of the sea. Mayus waves her hand, and sea terrors climbed up to the vessel from the ship and began tearing Fabius to pieces. Despite the way it looked, Fabius looked exhilarated. Whatever. Nary a look of suffering or pain wrinkling his face as they ripped his flesh apart. We turned away from this scene that could not be described as anything else other than cannibalism. Look at Mayus. Cults it, is she? Don't need to ask questions when the answer lies plainly before you, Doctor. What is happening? Wherefore the young Mayus? It wasn't Fabius. Mayus was the Bishop of the Deep. They've played us. Don't despair, we still have the upper land. We defeated Fabius and his cultists already, and even if they were to summon more sea terrors, we should be able to handle them without much trouble. Hey, Ager, just what were you thinking the entire time as you deceived us? I had a feeling I knew what she was going to say to that. She was either going to say that it was for our sake, that it wasn't a deception at all, or maybe she'll give us one final gloating. But her reply, the words of which were carefully selected after gazing out at the far ocean, was not what any of us could have expected. I'm sorry. I thought this would be the better way to approach you, but I see how it can come across as nothing more than deception. You're sorry? Why? Dante wants to know why you're sorry. Huh? Well, that's because I did something wrong. Wait, hold on. You've been deceiving us all along, Mayus, and now you're gonna... Oi, what exactly are you after? You're after the same thing that the geezer was, ain't that right? Turn us into your bloodkins, that it was all for our sake, giving all kinds of ridiculous excuses to turn us into one of those monsters. I do hope that you would all one day accept becoming seaborns. But I'm not about to demand that you let yourself be transformed today, right here and now. I understand that we all need some time to mentally prepare ourselves. May I understand your statement to be implying that you will not be forcing this upon us, should we refuse? That's correct. It'd be against manners to do what Fabius did, shoving sea terrorist cells inside your body out of nowhere. Manners, huh? Well, I was taken aback by the fact that Mayus was a Bishop of the Deep. It was also true that Mayus had never tried to bring us harm, unlike Fabius, who attacked the sinners directly. While she did almost get us in big trouble with Irene while explaining things to us, it's also true that Mayus has been extremely helpful so far. It was her who led us to the lighthouse, and it was her who stayed in that crumbling lighthouse until the repairs were done as that terrifying night continued to assail its walls. What was your actual relationship to Fabius anyway? Just someone who also once strove to realize the visions of our ideal worlds. Our goals once converged, but not now. I was pretty taken aback too when they attacked you back at the village. Maybe he got greedy when he saw Faust and Otis repairing the ship. He got greedy? Fabius believed that welcoming capable people as bloodkin would expedite Seaborn's evolution. Cool, so you're like some cult leader, but you don't necessarily want to antagonize us. You still haven't told us what you're after though? I'm going to the city that lies beyond the dimensional door. So, you're trying to flee a different world where the Inquisition won't be able to chase you? This isn't running away. I just want to help the people of the city. That's all. So, I'm bringing the Seaborns with me to the city. Don't tell me you're going to invade the city alongside those monsters then? Then, the foghorn suddenly blared, and the ship shook as it began to move. The vessel Massage has begun to move. Is this an automated sailing program? The vessel Massage will now sail toward the dimensional door. I'll let Rhodes Island and Irene go right in front of the door, so don't worry. Did you seriously just tell us to not worry? Faust, please calm yourself, Dante. It has not yet been determined if that is indeed the dimensional door connecting directly back to the city. No, it has to be. The warm, shining light and the voice from within is getting clearer and clearer. Why don't we just let them into the city? The battles thus far have done well enough to demonstrate the level of danger Seaborns pose. However, I doubt they'll get very far even if they were to enter the city, don't you agree? The hate will wipe them out pretty easily, I think. In Hongyon, we've all seen what happens when sapient, sentient, non-human entities enter the city. The hate will take action the moment they realize their presence. Of course, we must prepare ourselves for repercussions in case they decide to hold Limbus Company responsible once the dust settles. Yet, it's also very likely that we will fully escape any culpability, as we saw in the memories of the Kong massacre. Your thoughts, Faust? Urban nightmare. However, considering their specific attributes, it will not take long for them to rise to become a star of the city-level threat. There is a reasonable possibility that they may be issued the Impuritas Civitas classification. Are they really that dangerous? They just spread their numbers, right? I'm pretty sure there was... Right. I wouldn't... No, it's a bit too high. At least from all the stuff the city that we've seen, that's a lot harder than where the hell this is. This is just no different than like a zombie plague, I would say. Is that not an acceptable risk? If not the head, they should be manageable by a wing. This isn't that terrible of a calamity. But Kaltsit shook her head resolutely. No. Your technology seems to be based on something else, which is neither Originium Arts or nor any of its derived technology. And that is precisely what could make your world vulnerable against Seaborns. Is it because they learn fast? Yes. Those on the front lines of the war against Seaborns stubbornly stick to using traditional, low-tech weapons. Deploying high-technology weapons against them is only going to make you an enticing meal. And can't we just let whichever unfortunate win that ends up fighting this? Do take into account that it may take a significant amount of time to earn their trust. Even if they were to be convinced, there would be other parties with alternative perspectives on the matter, complicating issues. The situation will rapidly grow out of control if backstreet syndicates or fixers get involved, unless the head designates a taboo to prevent it. Even then, considering what she has been saying, yes, we must consider the possibility that they may be capable of absorbing the head's technology as well, before they are expelled from the city. How do you plan on helping the people of the city, Mayors? By giving them a chance to become Seaborns. What are you on about? Become Seaborns? You ain't all there either, eh? What kind of help is that? Mayors, you know that's no different from what the Church of the Deep is doing here. No, it is different. Because someone showered the city with the light. The light? The beam of light from the White Nights and Dark Days incident. How do you... Could it be? Becoming a Seaborn is to become a part of a great will called We Many. By doing so, no one can be reborn as an altruistic life form, but at the cost of ego, the sense of self. And that's always been my issue with it. Everyone has beliefs of their own, dreams of their own. It feels too empty to lose all of that when they inevitably lose their sense of selves as they become Seaborns. Look, I want each Seaborn to have their own wishes. But the light shining through the dimensional door to our world is too faint to push them toward that evolution. If only the light of the city could become more tangible, it just might be able to give every Seaborn an identity of their own, to remain uniquely themselves. Then why is it that you advocate toward those of the city to join the Seaborns when one could simply learn more of the light before returning here? At first, I thought all I needed was the clue to a better evolution, but Don Quixote's tales of adventures changed my mind. Mine? Adventures? You don't understand just how precarious you all are. And how would you, when you were born into that kind of world from the very start? A place where life has become a commodity and gold one of its few religions. The city has abandoned its yesterdays to survive today, and by doing so has given up on its tomorrows. Just as I needed the light, the city needs Seaborns. It needs their tenacious hold to life and their absolute unconditional selflessness. But at the end of the day, it still means that everyone has to turn into monsters. People ostracize the other. Something that isn't like me, something that feels alien to me, something that I don't know or understand. So that fear is natural, because Seaborns are not human. But you just have to cross that threshold once. Miss Mayers, do you believe the nature of humanity to be evil? Humans are selfish, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Good things can come from selfishness, that's for sure. But the side effects have become simply unsustainable. Doctor, you've been to countless battles where Rhodes Island has fought tooth and nail for the rights of the infected. But what came of it? Peace? No, it's the same. But still, we're all still getting better little by little. I'm not trying to deride those small incremental steps and call them meaningless. Change takes time, and should it continue, I believe your efforts can be a beacon of light that will lead humanity toward a brighter future. But what about everyone who is sacrificed while you're taking your time, taking those incremental steps? Every single day of the incremental change is marred by unjust deaths. Some are enslaved for no other reason than their differences. People live on in that despair that seems to have no end. I agree with what the light told me. People are diseased. They're so sick that even in the far-flung future, even on the day the world ends, they will continue to fail to look forward, obsessed with scrutinizing each other in search of those differences. Even when every eagle returns to sea, they're still going to bully and hate anyone with pointed ears, labeling them eagles. Even when oripathy is truly eradicated, people are still going to suspect and persecute someone as the infected. People are imperfect beings. You're right. There probably isn't anyone out there who can really sacrifice themselves for the sake of others with nothing but perfect selflessness. Carmen? But not when it comes to Seaborns. They don't suffer from all this absurdity, nor are they coerced to sacrifice against their will. They have the power to progress towards a better future built from mutual understanding. Because they're the kind of life form that seeks common ground instead of scrutinizing for differences. The bells. A strange shape forms, shimmers and materializes before me. I couldn't quite tell what it was, but it was round and it looked like a tool. It is possible that she had already met the conditions to effleurance. A possible explanation would be the absence of the particular pull required to draw it out of her, or the insufficiency of it. This isn't anything like the arts. But what is happening in front of Miss Mayers? Is our proximity to the dimensional door increasing the potency of influences coming over from the city? Precisely. The connection to Faust returning to normal levels indeed seems to indicate that. But wait, can people in other worlds, I mean Miss Mayers, also manifest ego? Internal conflict and anguish is a commonality among every intelligent entity, regardless of whether they are from the city or not. Therefore, yes, Faust is quite positive on this possibility as well. However, what does that mean? The potential to effleurance an ego implies the potential to distort as well. She's hearing Carmen right now. You've been dreaming for a long time, yes, drawing your own picture of an idealized world. And you have chosen the ocean as the means to building a path toward that vision. Yet, why have you failed to take the leap of faith yourself? I had to make preparations. Sea bonds are beautiful, there's no doubt about it. It's just that a key piece was missing to really achieve what I want. You're not being honest with yourself. I know it very well that you were afraid of becoming one of them. The fear that your own creed might crumble, that you might lose your own sense of self, your ego. The fear that you might end up becoming nothing more than just another thing swept up by the ineffably overwhelming will. Isn't it terrifying that this hope can just disappear in a blink? Who is she talking to? Is this something Limbus company has experience with? If so, I'd appreciate an explanation. Only Heathcliff would know. He's hearing that voice. When that singular faith that one had absolute confidence in breaks in one fell swoop, and their ironclad will is shattered. People of the city have the potential to distort into a monstrous form at any time. It is said that these phenomena are often accompanied by the distorting individual hearing a disembodied voice. Indeed, those who distort would often behave as though they were engaged in a conversation. Of course, the same could be said for those who awaken ego. At first, I thought it was Kathy, but it wasn't her. The voice was beautiful, comforting, and even cozy. The kind of voice that puts all deep contemplation to sleep. So calm and so warm. Ooh, we got something to say, Musol? You're saying you've experienced this before you joined Limbus company? I need that Musol, salt. No, there is more to the sunshine than its warmth. The sunshine? Oh, it sounds like he's speaking from experience. We're having some assault law before even Canto 9. You don't share your interest with the other devotees. Survival isn't what you care about. What you really care about is giving everyone a chance to experience what it feels like to live in a world of warmth, ephemeral that it may be. Right. We have to be about more than just prolonging our existences. What really matters isn't survival, it's what we leave behind for posterity, our legacy. As long as there's a guarantee that the light can indeed protect the sense of self, it'll be more than enough to convince people to become seaborns. Please, you don't have to concern yourself with what other people might think, Mayors. But everyone has their own wishes. I can't just bulldoze over theirs to force mine upon them. But that's not what you really believe, is it? You know what that better than anyone. While you hesitate, countless people who are bound to the inescapable bridle will continue to suffer. That might be true, but it's okay. You don't have to hide the shape of your heart, its colors. This is the longest Carmen sequence like ever. Like, I feel like someone can just drop kick her right now. Whatever. The only thing you have to concern yourself with is how can you lead the people of the city, and then Terra. Okay, we can't just sit here and let this happen. Operators to positions. Operators unable to approach. She's surrounded by a strange field, Doctor. Whenever someone would distort due to reasons other than the monolith, a strange pressure would prevent our approach, as though it stopped to stop us from interfering. Looks like that applies here too, all the way over in another world. Love is our collective destination, after all. So please, let go of this tool that might break your heart. Don't force yourself to walk the path of thorns. The pilgrimage needn't be that of suffering. No, you don't believe in any recourse, do you? Other than this, anyway. Don't you think we should find a better, faster path with less suffering? Before more people inevitably hurt each other with their ill intent? You're right. If there is no recourse, it has to happen faster. I can't waste any more time when people suffer. Follow your wishes, follow your desires, and paint. Let's show them the painting of your world reflected in your eyes before the compassion they believe in becomes completely worthless. Mayors, the yearning flotsam. It kinda reminds me of Hohenheim's distortion. I can see the resemblance. I understand the shape of your heart and what makes you want to enter the city. But we still know so little about the Seaborns, about Terra, about Iberia. Whatever may have lit the fire under your feet, I can't bring you with us to the city as you are now. Even before the sinners had a chance to translate my words, Maya slowly turned in my direction as though she clearly understood my words. But I must, Dante. Your adventures were full of exhilarating tales, and I saw kindness in the every word and action of you and your friends, but that's not enough. You don't think they'll change? No, they will. In the far, far future, an incandescent brilliance burst forth from before me ears. Past that light, I saw the ocean. The calm sound of gently lapping, crashing waves. The immense golden brilliance. A portal? Where did it come from? Dungeon of the Phantoms. A gate that leads into one's heart. This periphery, this is where LCB's department specialty begins. While what lies beyond this periphery does not necessarily warrant Rhodes Island's presence. Can you guys help? I don't know what kind of phantoms I'm walking into, but I have a feeling that we're going to need your assistance. Dr. Kaltsit. We're only here to investigate the dimensional door, but I don't want us to turn our backs on people we can help. Rhodes Island, accept Limbus Company's cooperation requests. I'll go too. You're still in Iberia. I can't let Iberian business be handled solely by outsiders, let alone an incident connected to the Church of the Deep. Don't worry, it's not like this is the first time we're letting someone not in our group into a dungeon of the Phantoms. We'll be fine. More sea terrors. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that sea terrors that were swarming the lighthouse are coming this way as well. I'll call Skadi here. You'll be staying behind then? Amiya will go with you, Doctor. Following Mayors, who had already disappeared into the portal, we take our steps into the utopian world beyond